sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today's episode is part of the Mastering Excellence series. And in case you haven't heard about this before, this is a concept that comes from my background in neurolinguistic programming, where we learn that there is a structure of excellence, a structure to excellence, I should say. Once you understand the structure, you can then apply it to your own life and or business to get similar results. And I'm super excited for this conversation today because our guest is Micah Folsom. Now, if you haven't heard about Micah or met her before, you're in for a real treat. Micah is the mom of 5 and a wife to a large animal veterinarian living in Rexburg, Idaho. For the past 9 years, she's been blessed with the opportunity to help thousands of women elevate their health, mindset, and joy while creating wealth, building a business alongside their journey. She's a top leader in Beachbody. She's a course creator, and she's the host of the top 50 podcast called Do Your Crap that helps women and entrepreneurs create simple habits and break through the mindset blocks that are keeping them from feeling their best and living the lives they desire, especially in the trenches of motherhood. She's a huge believer that women can rock and live and shouldn't feel guilty for having passions outside of a mom life. Micah, welcome to the show, friend.
Hi, Nikki. I'm so excited to be here. You're one of my favorites, so it's an honor.
Oh, you're one of my favorites. I always like to give the audience a little bit of context of how we got connected. Micah and I are in a program together called the Luminary Leadership Incubator Lab. And I say we're in there together, but her husband is also in there as well. So I've gotten to know her and her husband. We just got to spend a few days together a couple weeks ago in Wisconsin. And I just have been a big fan since, I will say, before we even had our first retreat, which was back in November. There was something about your energy and the way you show up on Zoom. Because I remember it was probably the first meeting or maybe even the second one that we had. And I was just watching you on Zoom and I was like, she is somebody I want to get to know better.
Oh my gosh. I love you.
And I know you're not going to know this, but my audience might know if you've heard me talk about the Strive 5 before and how I'm really intentional when I go to events that I have my Strive 5 list. Well, Micah was on my Strive 5 list when we went to our first retreat together, which was back in November in somewhere in Florida. I can't remember now where. Clearwater. Yes.
Clearwater? I think so.
I think you're right. She was on my Strive 5. So the first morning I saw her and she was like standing outside with her husband and her little one at the time. Rev was probably, how old was Rev?
Gosh, in November, he would have been, hold on, don't make me do math. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 8 months.
8 months.
Yes.
So she was standing outside with her amazing husband, JD, and Rev, her little one, her 8-month-old. And I was like, I'm going to go out and talk to her. And so that was like, because I always feel shy in those situations, but I was like, no, I'm going to go talk to Micah because I really wanted to get to know you. And you've been such a blessing in my life. I'm so thankful that we have developed this friendship.
I know. And I'm thankful that you're brave and talk to people because I'm the hermit that goes to events and is like, I'm just going to stay in my bubble and I'm just going to like soak it all in and not be brave and talk. So thankful for you for doing that.
That's so funny for you to say that because I see you now again, because I follow you on Instagram. You do so many fun things on Instagram. She's really fun, you guys. So follow her because her videos are super entertaining. If you're not like doing a fun, cool workout, there's something fun with the kids that you're doing. Anyway, and I just see you as this really great big personality. So it's funny to hear you say that.
Yeah. It's so weird how that's becomes like my safe space. That's become so easy for me to share on social and in normal life. I am like the bystander. I'm like I'll watch you guys do the things and I'll stay in my corner and I'll just observe. And if someone comes up to me, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to talk to you. And I'm whatever, but I don't know what it is. I'm still working on it. still got some room to grow for sure. So much room.
That's so funny. And you've put together this amazing podcast, which I love the name of your podcast, Do Your Crap. I got to be a guest on Micah's podcast a couple months ago, and I got to speak to her team a couple months ago, which was super fun. And anyway, it's just been awesome to know you. And you introduced me to one of my favorite things, which I've just restarted. And you talked about this, I don't even know if you know this, but at our first retreat, it was our last dinner together. And you were saying that you have a morning routine that involves the 100 Days of Believing Bigger devotional journal. And I did it. It was so amazing. And I just started it again this morning because I was like, I love it. A deeper dive in this.
Yes, I love it. Love it. It's so powerful. That's one of my favorites.
So thank you for that. All right. So when we were brainstorming, because I knew I wanted to have Micah on the podcast for the Mastering Excellence series, because there are so many things I feel like I could do this deep dive with you around. And when we were kind of brainstorming, because I had some ideas, I pitched this idea to her and she was sitting with JD, her husband. And she was kind of like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And he actually came up with the topic because he knows you so well. Her husband, by the way.
I remember the topic.
I'm going to tell you. But I just want to say, your husband, by the way, is such a nice person. And he is so interesting because you always talk about his love of cows. So he's a large veterinarian. He specializes in large animals, specifically cows. And you guys have this farm, a bunch of cows on it. And you now started posting stuff around like the Folsom. What is it? Is it farm
life on Folsom Farm?
Life
brand new. Yes, we just rolled it out. Yes.
Check it out on Instagram. I was actually watching. I think was it this morning, the one about the cold branding, the freeze branding. I never knew that was a thing.
I know, right? I didn't either. That's why I'm like, babe, we need to share with the world. Like, this is a whole different world that people don't even know exists. I'm like, we need to do better. I need to do better.
It's so fun and so interesting. I can't wait to see what else is coming because I was interested in farm life, but it's the way you do it is so fun. So check that out too.
Love it.
Anyway, JD is the one who came up with this idea because he said, you know what Micah is extremely talented at is she has this unwavering belief in herself. So that's what we're going to dig into today.
Oh yeah. I remember that now.
Okay. And I was like, there's nobody better to tell you what the thing is that you are unconsciously competent about than your life partner, right? He knows you so well. So that's what we're going to talk about.
All right. I'm excited to dig into this. We're going to probably uncover some things that I don't even know exist. So let's go.
I hope so. I hope you'll learn something. And for you as the listener, start listening, listen for the structure because we all could probably use this unwavering belief in ourselves because it's so easy to second guess ourselves. It's so easy to get in your head about the things like people are going to be making judgments about me. And how could I be the person that does this? Or should I put my voice out there in the world and all the things, all that negative self-talk, because we're talking to somebody who has found her own way in doing this. And if you can understand her structure and start to implement some of these things, you can also have more success in believing yourself. That's the point of this episode. So my first question to you, friend, is if I was to stand in for you for a day, so I'm like taking on you, you're a persona, I'm like stepping into your shoes, what would I have to do or think or behave in particular, any of those things that come to mind when I'm really thinking about this belief in myself? Like I believe in myself so fully. How do you show up in a day that way?
Oh gosh. These are going to be hard questions.
They are. Yeah, I know.
I love that. I think it would be, what was it? What do I need to,
like, how would I have to behave? Like, what's something I would do?
So we're going to shift that. It's actually a little bit more, instead of what do I have to do? It's who do I have to be? Like, who do I need to be? And I think along the way, I've just been very, very clear on like the outcome, but also knowing that it's going to take a long time. It's going to, like, I don't know step A or step F. I just know what I want. And so since I want that, what do I need to show up and do today? Who do I need to be? How do I want to share? Who do I need to connect with? I think that drives everything. As far as everything, business, motherhood, where does my focus need to be in this moment? Like, be present in these 5 minutes that I have with my kids in between Zoom calls, be present here, shoot this message because this actually matters today. And it's kind of just being really, really intentional about not letting overwhelm and chaos run the show, but being really good at kind of like tearing back what actually matters and then only doing the things that matter today. I think that in a nutshell is probably one of my strengths that I think is just normal, that everyone does that. But when I talk with people and overwhelm is a struggle and stress and all of the things, that's not really normal for people to be able to like clear out the fluff and just do the things that matter that day. And that's something that I'm good at.
That is super fantastic. And there, right in there, there's so much gold she just gave, but there's one really intentional nugget is like, you're only focused on that day. And what do you need to do that day? Who do you need to connect with? Who do you need to be to keep working towards your goal? And you're not focused on like the 8,000 steps down the line. It's like today's step.
Yeah. Because it's so easy. It's so easy to be, if I would have told myself 9 years ago, all that it was going to take in order to create the life we wanted, in order to build the business that we have now, in order to make the impact that we've been able to make, in order to reach the women, I would have been like, no, do not sign me up for that. No way. I couldn't do that. Like, and not because I didn't believe in myself that I could, but I don't even think I would have allowed myself to want that because of the 8 million steps it would have taken and the growth that was essential in order to become the version of myself that was capable of doing those things. And yet I just got started and I knew I could do what I could do that day. And I knew I could help one person. And so I got to work helping one. And then I knew I could do a post on social and share in a certain way. So I did that. And then it's just kind of like learning as you go and growing as you go. I look back at how I operated and how I shared and did social. And I was so shy and afraid to rub people the wrong way. And so when JD's like, oh, she has this unwavering belief, it's not so much like I was in a shield of like, no one could hurt me. And I wasn't afraid of anything. Like, I still had all of my limiting beliefs and all of the things that could have stopped me. And yet I think the thing that I've never wavered in is like, if it's possible for someone, it's possible for me, period. And so as soon as I see someone doing something, I'm like, oh, sweet, game on. If she can, I can. If they can, we can. Like, if it's out there, then there's space for more. And I think that is a little bit different than probably most people operate, where like, if they can do it, then maybe there's not room for me, or sure, she can, but I have all of these things that I have to deal with or carry, or my story is different. I've never dealt with that sort of stuff. I'm like, if they can, we can.
If they can, we can. I love that. I wrote an article a while back, probably years ago now, but I feel like sometimes you meet people that have the like, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I the one who's being, and I always look to flip the switch whenever I can. And so when I would hear people go like, why is this blah, 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 I would go, why not me? In the good things, like, not that the bad things don't happen to me too, because they do, but having the like, well, if that person can have such and such, why not me? Like, I could do that. So I love that. That's what I'm hearing for you too, is like, if they can, we can.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be your quote. Like that's such a great one. Okay.
Here we go.
So then my next question is, what specifically do I have to do to behave like you?
Oh, you need to. I'm like, what do I do? You need to keep things as simple as possible, period. I'm very high on, I want the biggest return on my time and investment and energy and the easiest, most simple route possible. So I try to uncomplicate everything in life. I try to make it as simple as possible. I try to clear out any clutter that doesn't serve the situation. And that's with everything. That's why I got started with the workout programs that I did. I'm like, I literally started with this program called 10-Minute Trainer. I can do 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That got me in the door. 10 minutes a day. I can do that. Okay. Now I'm up to 30 minutes a day, y'all. That's what it takes. But it's like, I want the most bang for my buck. 30 minutes, consistent habits, discipline. Same goes for nutrition. I want to eat healthy, but I want it to be convenient and I want it to be simple. I don't want to be in the kitchen all day long. I need life to be simple and joyful. And same with business. I need the systems to be simple. I need the structure to be simple. I need to be able to duplicate this with other people. So everything, if you want to behave like me, it's simplified and it's purposeful. Everything that I do, there's a reason for it. It's moving us closer to our goals. It's moving me closer to the person that I want to be as a mom, as a CEO, as a mentor, as a podcaster. There is rhyme and reason behind everything that I do. And that stemmed from really early on, growing my business while being a full-time wedding photographer with 2 kids at home while JD was in the middle of vet school. I did not have time or mental capacity to have clutter. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I got to clear out the stuff that is not serving us. And I ask myself every day, is this moving me closer to my goals or further away? Every choice. Is this moving me closer to my goals or further away? And then it got easy to be like further away. So that got taken off the plate. It didn't take up my space or my time. And I put on something in that space that was serving us, that was moving us closer. And so just really disciplined in those daily choices and keeping it as simple as possible.
Okay. So again, lots of good nuggets in there, simplified and purposeful. And the goal is to just take a step back and ask yourself, is this moving closer to my goal or further away? Whatever you're doing, whatever you're being, however you're showing up, closer, further away.
Yeah.
And then if it's further away, how do you get rid of it? Is that right?
You just clear it out.
Clear it out. Okay.
Clear it out.
Okay. So the next question, and you might feel like you've answered these, which is totally fine, but I'm looking to see if there's anything else there. What do you actually do to reach a goal specifically around this deep belief in yourself that you can do something? Like, what do you do? What do you actually do?
Well, I look for proof. I look for proof. So that's step one. Look for proof. If you are in an industry where people are more successful than you, that is evidence that it is there for you as well. I think some people use other people's success as proof that they can't do it. There's whatever. It's too saturated. It's too this. There's already someone doing it. That's bogus, because your story and your voice and the way you share and what you do is totally authentic and unique to you. And you get to own that space and do whatever you want. So look for proof. And then number 2 would be the morning vision work. This is something that I implemented a couple years ago. I learned it from Bob Proctor at one of his live events. And it is transformed. Like, I believed in myself, yes, but I get goosebumps. Like, I have full body goosebumps just talking about this, because it literally shifts from someone who's struggling with belief. I call it your vision story. So I have this whole process, and we can link it up after the fact. I have a vision story process. It's like a mini workshop that people can get if they want help with this. But you basically write out your vision story. And this is all encompassing. This is your health, your relationships, your purpose and your impact, your income and your business, the way that you're showing up in the world, what you want to do, your experiences, everything that you care about is a part of this vision story. And you're essentially creating your vision of what you're bringing to life every single day. And what happens is every single morning, I record this, I speak it into this app and read it. And then I listen to it for 10 minutes on loop every single morning. And what it does is it instills within me why I'm doing what I'm doing. Reminds me where we're going. It reminds me who I need to be in order to create that life and to bring it to fruition. And I think lots of times when people struggle with belief, it's simply you're not allowing yourself enough time to stay connected to the vision, to really stay connected to your strongest desires, and then allowing yourself grace and compassion as you get to fail and stumble and figure crap out along the way. And that's all part of the beautiful journey of growth. And so I think that's one of the habits and the things that I do each morning that keeps my feet to the fire, or whatever you would say, and really connected to that belief and my deeper purpose and calling within all of the work that I do and who I want to be and how I want to show up in the world and all that fun stuff.
I feel like I've heard you talk about this, and I don't know if it was in the group or if it was when I was listening to your podcast, but talk about that you listen to your own vision every single day on this loop. And I remember at the time feeling like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. I'm going to do that. And then I didn't do it. And now I've been inspired. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's so
cool. I literally just got Instagram messages from a girl she's in one of my courses. And she's like, Micah, she video messaged me. She's like, this customer talked to me and shared things word for word that are in my vision. Like, it is coming to life, what I'm speaking about, what I want to create and what I want to do. She said the words and like, I have goosebumps. It is so freaking powerful. This is like the one thing you do not want to skimp on. If you do anything from this episode, it's like, go take action on writing out your vision, read it, record yourself, listen to it. Game changer.
So good. So good. What app do you use for it?
I want
some real clarity now.
Right? No, I use the Think Up app. And what I do is it's essentially like a affirmations app. So when I first got it, I was recording like quick little one-liners, like affirming certain things. I'm a kind and patient mother because my kids are crazy sometimes. And I just wanted to be kinder and more patient. So I was starting with quick little one-liners. And then when I learned about the vision story process, I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. So what I did was, for an affirmation, I recorded a paragraph. So in the whole process of writing this out, I help you like break it down into sections of your vision so that you can really get clear on certain aspects of your life. You're not getting imbalanced, focusing on one area and then letting everything else fall to the wayside. So each affirmation is a section of the vision. And then it makes it so easy because as things evolve and as your goals change and as things for your life change, you can just go re-record that little section. And then you don't have to like redo the entire thing, which could feel daunting or overwhelming or like, meh. So that's what I do. And it's solid.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like she said, if you take nothing else away from this episode,
for real,
hopefully you will, there'll be more. This is amazing. This is why I just knew I wanted to have you on the podcast. And I knew that people wanted to hear, like, would benefit from hearing what you have to share. Okay. So my next question is, how do you know when it's time to pay attention to really believing in yourself and your vision?
I always talk about the heart tugs. Always. I'm like a huge believer in, we are here for a reason. We have specific tugs on our heart to go a certain way, to pivot, to do a certain thing, to follow a certain prompting. And I think that's more than anything else. Like, you're probably internally feeling that nudge of like, you should do this. You should say that. You should reach out. You should go for it. You should jump. You should pivot. You should whatever. We have those tugs and we just get really freaking good at going, like, I'm going to quiet that. That's a little scary. Who am I to do that? Who am I? Like, no, feel the tug, take the action, build the confidence as you go. Like, that is how you build belief. It's not I believe in myself and then I'm going to do the thing. It's you do the thing, you build the belief, you build the confidence, you figure it out. And that's where everything like builds on, right? My kids are just coming in. It's fine.
Is that Rev?
That's Rev.
I think
he's like, hi.
I can hear him.
I'll have to bring him on after.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so it's
so
just
you feel the tug, you take the action. What was the third thing you said?
And you build the belief.
And you build the belief.
Yeah, that's where, if you're feeling the tug, that's where you know you need to be focusing, because it's there for a reason. Everyone's heart tugs are unique to them, are different, are divine, in my opinion. And that is where you need to take action. And then the belief happens after the fact. So I think lots of people try and do it backwards. They're like, I'm going to build the belief. I'm going to hype myself up, and then I'm going to go take the leap. That's backwards. So you're going to feel unqualified. You're going to feel not worthy. You're going to feel those things. Sure. But do it anyway. And then you get to qualify yourself through experience and through growth and through failures and through all of the lessons that come. And that's where belief comes, because you're like, frick, I can do hard things. I'm freaking awesome. and you get to build that on your own. And that's, I think, why that's really cool. When you get to see someone step into the next level of themselves and really like level up in their mindset and their growth and what they're doing in the world, it's so cool to watch that process happen.
That's one of the other things that JD had talked about, is that you have this unwavering belief in yourself, and that you map that across to the other people you come into contact with, that you have this deep belief in the people that you engage with. Will you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
I just feel like we have limitless potential. And I think my knowledge of that we are literally limitless. That's not like Sarah is, but Sam's not. Rachel is, but Heather's not. Like, we all are. And I think my knowledge of that, and then seeing how freaking mean we are to ourselves most of the time, I'm like, if I can just be the one person who does believe in you, I see their potential. I see what they're capable of. I see what they can do in the world far before they ever do. And so I just like, that's my job as a coach and a mentor, is I get to breathe that belief and confidence into them while they don't have it for themselves yet. And they get to build it and lean on me and grow into themselves and really develop that for themselves so they can stand on their own 2 feet and they don't need to rely on my belief. And it's the most, like, it lights my soul on fire. Like, I love it so much.
And I see this again, because I follow you on, the things, like, I know you just did this big trip to Hawaii where you took some of your team members, and you and JD paid for this trip for them. Like, this was like you take these people who you so believe in, and you took them to Hawaii and had this amazing trip.
It was the best trip. Yeah. I mean, so cool. Yeah. So those are my top leaders, and they are doing so much good work, and it's just our way of celebrating with them for hitting goals and for just being on the journey together. So we brought their spouses with them, and it was the coolest week to be together and to just to do life together. I'm lucky to be surrounded by people like that.
Yeah. I like this idea of do life together. Okay. Yeah. So here's always the question that I'm just going to say it instead of say what I was going to say. How do you know when to stop?
Oh gosh. Like to stop doing something and pivot into something else, or
whatever you're doing that's leading you, like wherever this goal is that you set. How do you know when to stop?
That's a great one. For me, I feel like when there's just that internal friction, but not the friction of like, this is hard, this is scary. Like for me, perfect example. And I think I might be able to share this story form better than I can just in words. When I was shooting photography, I had literally built this business from the ground up, self-taught, online workshops, tutorials, just figuring out all of this. And then I built this 6-figure business on my own, solo, had no helpers, no VAs, no editors, no nothing. I was a one-man show. Holy crap. And I wore that hat like it was a badge of honor, and it was my baby. So that was an ego thing. When I had built this, at the time I was doing workshops and I was teaching, and I had created a name for myself. And it was an ego thing, right? We've had this conversation at the masterminds, like JD and I have this in common. And then I started getting inquiries. I started coaching, right? I started into the wellness coaching on that. It was a very side thing. I was doing it for my own health and wellness. I needed it for the own skin in the game to take care of myself. And then I fell in love with empowering women, fell in love with them taking care of themselves, fell in love with being a part of that journey into people stepping into themselves. And every time I got a wedding inquiry, I was like, oh, frick, I got to go shoot. Oh, shoot. Dang it. Another wedding inquiry. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I'm not serving my clients at my greatest capacity when I'm feeling annoyed that this inquiry is coming in, that I'm feeling frustrated that I have to go shoot instead of coaching my clients or being with my family. And so I just stay so in tune with what my heart is telling me, with those little thoughts, those little intuitions, those little things, because those lead the way. And so that's as I started to get that friction of like, oh, why am I doing this? That's when I'm like, dude, it's not even worth it. Stop it. You got to hang up your strap. You got to go all in on this. You got to pivot. Like, let's go in a new direction. And I just made the decision. I stopped booking clients. I filled everything that I had on my calendar. And then I was done, like, period. And it was the best decision I'd ever made. So I think when it comes to stopping something, I would caution, like, don't stop something when it's hard. Don't stop something when you're in the middle of a trial. Don't stop something when it's messy, because you're not really thinking straight. You're not really like, you don't really have your head on, you're letting things get cloudy, but really get clear on where you're going in life. What direction do you need to be going? Where do you want to be? Is this the path that's going to get you there? Because it becomes very clear, like yes or no. And when it's a no, you know, okay, I don't know what's next. Or maybe you have something that's new or exciting that you can pivot to, but you're going to know. So I would just say, continue to stay so in tune with your desires and your joy and what you're just feeling, that fire in your belly to do, and always follow that, because that leads the way like 100% of the time.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This was awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So as we start to wrap up, I have a couple little questions for you that have nothing to do with this believing yourself, but just letting us get to know you a little bit more. So here's my first question, if you're willing, is what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh gosh. Hallmark movies.
I'm dying to know the answer to this.
Hallmark movies. I'm such a cheese ball. I literally am obsessed with Hallmark movies, especially at Christmas, and homemade chocolate chip cookies. And what else do I love? I love, my husband always makes fun of me. I am a sucker for those cheesy, like teenager shows, like Outer Banks. I loved Outer Banks, like all of these things. And my husband's always like, babe, they're like in high school. You're way too grown up to enjoy that. And I'm like, I just do. I just love it. I think internally I still feel like I'm 18. So I'm like, no, those are my people. Like, those are my people, even though I'm 33 or however old I am. So yeah, those are probably the three.
Oh, those are so good. It cracks me up because your answer is similar to Josh Coates, who you introduced me to.
Oh,
and I interviewed him on the podcast, and I think he told me his guilty pleasure. It was a couple weeks ago, but I think he said it was chick flicks and like the
I can see that.
I feel like you and Josh have this in common, and I know you guys are good friends, so that makes me laugh.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. How do you celebrate your wins?
Like, as far as celebrating, I'm like, how do I celebrate? I like to do stuff with family. I like to bring the family into it and be like, hey, we did this. Let's do that. I like to bring them into it, but I'm also not the best celebrator. I'll be honest. I'm not the best, like, we freaking did it. Let's go. I'm kind of just like, all right, awesome. Not like on to the next. So that's one of the things that I do need to be mindful of, like slowing down, appreciating all of those things. But I think lots of times it's like, this is like a life thing, this journey, business, growth, all the things we're doing. So even when I have a goal, I don't get overly excited, and I don't get overly disappointed if we miss it either. I'm just like, okay, this is just part of it. We hit it. We didn't. So when we do hit it, I'm like, yes, what's next? And when we don't hit it, I'm like, all right, how can we course correct? Where can we go from here? But I definitely bring the family in. I love to include them in the business stuff. So it's more like of a life thing.
Yeah. Okay. What is one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh man.
I feel like we need JD for that question.
Right. So surprise. Well, a couple things. One, I was a gymnast for 7 years. Competitive gymnast, level 10. I was like, my family was literally on the verge of moving to Cincinnati to train for the Olympics.
Wow.
Like, it was like at that point. And in the midst of all that, this is when I think that's where a lot of my perfectionism stems from. I had to break up with being a perfectionist. A lot of I have a little bit of like, not OCD, but like I pull out my eyelashes. It's called trichotillomania.
Oh,
that's another thing. It's like, I hate it more than anything. Right.
Yeah.
So but I think a lot of it has stemmed from that pressure. And so that's how I dealt. And so in life, when I'm feeling like things are out of control or my kids are being crazy and I can't do anything or I'm anxious, I start picking. And it's I'm like, how many freaking years am I going to, like, when can I finally win this battle? That's like a thing that will be when I figure that out, because I've tried all of the things and it does get to me like, Micah, you figured out how to do so many freaking things in your life. Just stop touching your eyelashes. And I'm like, I don't know why I can't figure it out. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, I'm going to say I've had that my whole life with biting my nails, which I know people are like, that's such a disgusting habit. And I've never been able to break it until
Isn't it annoying?
I started getting my nail. Well, it's kind of not really,
but still you found something.
I started getting my nails done. And now you can't, and I still do find myself sticking my fingernails in my mouth from time to time, but not because I was always like chewing them down. And it was really my stylist who finally said, hey, Nikki, you're speaking on these stages. You're on camera all the time. You should really get your nails done. And I will say I resent it. I resent getting my nails done, but it does help me from chewing.
Yeah. It really is I've gotten lash extensions before and I'm like, okay, sweet. If I spend $150 to get these extensions, there is no freaking way I'm going to touch them. And it lasted a good little bit. And then I started pulling them all out and I like literally had no eyelashes for months.
Oh,
it's so one of these days I'm going to come back to Nikki and I'm going to be like, I beat it. I figured it out.
I know you will.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to do it.
I know you will.
Do it.
I believe it. All right. What's something exciting going on in your business right now?
Oh, I mean, there's some things that we haven't even talked about. So
you don't have to say anything that's revealing that you're not ready to share.
I just feel like my biggest excitement right now. So we have like multiple businesses. And one of the things that we're doing, I'm always excited about my health and wellness coaching and mentorships and course. I'm always excited. That's what lights my soul up.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I'm especially excited right now is bringing our beef from our house to people's tables. So that is one of the things that we talked about at the mastermind.
Yeah.
And we're like in the works to bring it to life, to create a subscription box so people can have homegrown beef. And it just feels so good to be like, wow, I didn't ever think that we would do this. Why is this on my heart? Why do I want to do this? I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And this is so exciting. So that's one of the things that we're creating, all the wait list and the landing pages and the emails. And I'm like, yes, this is so fun. So we're having fun with that. And it's me and JD together. Like, how fun is that we get to bring our passions, kind of let them interweave and bring it to life. So that's super exciting.
I'm so excited for you guys. This was a big talk at our mastermind a couple of weeks ago. JD was there and Micah was there, and we were talking about what this box would be that they were going to sell. And I know you already have some built-in clients because we were all like, sign us up. Like, we want to start getting a box, so I know you're going to do so well with this. And it's such a passion of JD's as well.
Yeah.
He lights up when he talks about cows.
He does. I video him when we're driving past our pastures and he's just checking the cows like slowly as we're driving in. I'm like, babe, the look on your face. If I could just get that look from you every once in a while, like I would feel complete. Like he just looks at these cows like with so much just joy and he's so proud. And I'm like, it's the cutest, but he absolutely loves what he does. And he loves those cows.
So awesome. I remember at our first retreat, we were talking about, he was telling you, I think you told me he loves cows and we were having this conversation. And then later that night at dinner, I sat next to somebody else in the group and she's like, I've never seen a cow live. And I was like, what? How is that possible? I was like, go talk to JD. He'll hook you up.
Funny, right?
Like, you've never seen a cow live. I was like,
hilarious.
What? I guess that's my Idaho. That's our Idaho. It's rare I get to talk to somebody in Idaho. It's our Idaho showing through, but who hasn't seen a cow? Anyway.
I know, that's funny.
All right, friend. Well, as we wrap up, what's a great way for people to connect with you? People who are listening and also I do want to, if you are willing to share your workshop, we'll put it in the show notes too on this vision boarding.
Okay.
If you're willing.
Yes, for sure. So pretty few different places. I hang out on Instagram a lot. That's where
she really
you can see
does
all the fun, a lot. That's where the fun happens. So find me at Life on Folsom Farm. And then I have some goodies for your listeners. So depending on where they're at in life, if they want some value and goodies and around motherhood or entrepreneurship or mindset and habits and those things. If you go to micahfolsomfit.com/DYC, so do your crap, short for do your crap, DYC, that will allow you to get onto my email list. And the first email is going to have you click a button of what you want. So that's where you pick the goodie you want. So make sure that you check your junk folder, check your spam, check your promotions, because lots of times they get lost in there, and tell me where you're at in life so that I can serve you on a weekly basis. And then the vision story, I hope this is right. I think
we can put it in the show notes.
Okay.
So
put it in the show notes. I'll link up the vision story in the show notes. It's a mini workshop and that will blow your mind. That'll change your life in and of itself.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing and for saying yes to being on the podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to you, the listener, for being here and showing up and participating and engaging with the podcast. It's nothing thrills me more than to hear from you and what your takeaways are from the show. So please feel free to share those with Micah on Instagram, tag her, talk about your biggest takeaway and tag me. I want to hear, or send me a private message. I want to hear from you. And thank you so much for being here. And thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.